And I guess.
All right.
They did.
It is 12 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and call this December 9th meeting to order and open it up for citizen comments. Okay, anything get called in?
Okay, called in to me.
All right. There being no citizen comments, we're moving on to the active agenda. And first item is approval of minutes, November 13th, 2025 meeting. Entertain a motion to approve.
Well, I'd be glad to make the motion. Should we add that Doug Havens was a excused absence?
So Doug is not actually a member of the board whose council chose not to appoint.
Oh,
So right now we are without county representation until they either send a new representative to council to be appointed.
Oh.
I missed that.
I didn't know that either.
That's where we're hanging out currently.
Well, I'll make motion
Got a
to
motion?
approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Sure.
Hi, Jim.
All right, next item is approval of invoices for O'Sullivan Legal, November 2025, in the amount of $265.50.
I move we approve that.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This motion passes. Next item is East Orchard Sewer Phase 3 construction project with generic contract amendment request in the amount of $44,404.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn this over to Joe Hoffman.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you guys all should have a handout that I have provided. You might wanna, there's one at the end to send down for Jim. This is information that Joe provided this morning, and so he'll be reviewing this as part of these contracts.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today. So kind of gonna go through a quick kind of just progress update on the overall project, and a few pictures and kind of just talk about how it's progressing. The first page is kind of like similar to the last time we had a progress update. I drew in green over top of the planned sewer alignment that's installed as of today. So Olive Avenue, that's been done for a while now, and then the progress along the 20th Street section was being contracted. And then if you recall, segment 1 on the upper left-hand corner of Burl Avenue was not awarded in this project. So it was designed there and bid as an alternate, but it's not on track to be constructed because we didn't award it. So essentially we're a little bit more than halfway from Alder Avenue to Powers Avenue. Good street. If there's any other questions about the map piece there? Or you can flip ahead. We've got a few pages of photographs. So going down 20th Street, we've had some slowdowns or some issues where essentially where the deep rock excavation came about. The quality of the rock was different than what we've had in different rock excavation sections, and it was breaking out in larger pieces, requiring more effort to do that. And essentially that ended up causing quite a bit of trench collapses, which is those first two photographs here in the other handout. You can see the one on the left with the person standing on the road plate over the collapse. And then you can see kind of on the right how some of that typically was looking, where really the design trench is just wide enough that shoring you see there in the photograph would be able to be put in the trench for construction, but wouldn't have been dug out any wider than that. So that kind of really did result in quite a bit of a slowdown up there. On that second photograph with the shoring in it, you can kind of see the one piece of a collapse that is separated from the wall. You see the dark line beside it. So if the shoring is there, that's kind of what it looks like until it more fully collapses down the side, or they have to move the shoring. But it would just keep growing until we could get it back built, in places that be 12 feet wide instead of 5.
And that's sand or
it's not too sandy. Some of it is the large blocks of rock that took wherever, so we're shaking it underneath as you're trying to break out that rock, and those vertical walls coming loose. Also, the drier weather probably made it worse than it would have been if it was wetter time of year, as those walls get exposed and you start to dry them out in the moon. Yeah, so that's sort of what the curveball that they've been dealing with for the last couple months. There's a good ending to this part of the story. We're not there yet. So we're kind of flipping forward from those photographs. We have a couple. One, there's still plenty of utilities. The gas line, the natural gas line, is running fairly close there. So when we had the trench collapses, in combination with the gas line close by, there's times the gas line's been exposed and they've had to strap it up, like this photograph kind of shows the yellow strap, making sure that the gas line doesn't move with a collapse around it. Underneath it is one of those old, people are always interested to see those wood water lines when you cross them.
Yeah,
So that's the other thing shown in that photograph, that little circular hole beneath the gas line with the piece of steel wire running out of it. They were just staves wrapped in a bunch of steel wire. So now when you dig through it, you get kind of a slinky of wire, circular hole in the ground. So some of that LOID history. And then the next one with the small trench roller is just kind of an example of how our typical backfill is going up there. We're using much native material as we can. You can kind of see that roller pattern on top of that native material. Then the final 2 feet of roadbed type rocks. And if you look closely into the side of the trench, you can see that the original road does not have nearly as much base as we're putting into our trench section as we're repairing the road piece that we're up. And you kind of notice in some of those pictures how many road plates are out there on the project to try to keep it safe and make it accessible. Especially while there's collapses going on, standing too close to the edge of the trench is not very safe if you're not on one of those bigger plates.
So basically, it takes more time, so it's more expensive.
Yes, it takes more time. There's a lot, we're paying for the backfill as a quantity. So, that's just more cubic yards or more tons, depending if it's rock or the native material that we're measuring by volume that they have to place and compact and put back in.
I don't know why I like your use of the word collapsing a little bit better than cave-ins on the report. That's on the board.
Yeah. I don't think I would volunteer, even inside the shore, and volunteer to be down inside the trench when either of those is happening. But then, yeah, the last picture is kind of the most recent, kind of up on site, and you can see how that really should be looking through there with the much neater. I mean, we still have kind of a crossing surface there, but the shoring, the depth is about the same as those earlier photographs did. You have the construction holding up, the rock, kind of nature of the rock seems to have changed, and you're also coming out of how deep the rock excavation that we're doing. So
what utility is that crossing there?
I believe that
Yes.
is a gas line, or the gas service. Doing the gas line is kind of out of sight, a little bit to the right of the photograph, and I think it's crossing to service the house on the other side of the road.
Joe, can you explain to the board maybe kind of so on the agenda or there's both a request from Merrick for contract amendment, and they did like the engineering and they're doing on-site inspection. And then there's also a contract and change order request from Albright's. So can you kind of talk about like what part is what part
Yes,
going along with your photos?
thank you.
Perfect.
So, yeah, the two things, the two amendments on the agenda, I'll start with the Merrick one. The backstory for them with the engineer is that we recall all the way back then, we were pleasantly surprised that we actually had enough budget to award that second alternative at the beginning of the project. And we originally had scoped a certain amount of hours for them on construction management and observation, really based on how much we thought we could afford, not really including all of that extra. We were working with kind of our own city staff to do as much observation as we could early in the project, try to offset that. Which we did in Rel for a while, but had a lot of other projects had to pull those inspectors, or that inspector to those projects once it got started. And now that we're kind of through this piece, we kind of used up the budget that we had, but we have enough certainty about how much it's gonna take for us to get to the end of the project with Merrick. We've got our inspector back from the city on the project largely now, and so this is really the number of hours it's gonna take to get the design engineer through the end of the project, and accounting for the assumptions from Albright and the slowdown from all the trench collapses and changes there. You had any questions about that? Happy to answer them.
Where was segment 20? It says here that the preliminary design is segment 7 and once.
I'm fairly sure that 20 is south of Birch Avenue and 20th Street. 17, 18, 19 are marching down through there.
Yeah, 20 would be the next segment down.
Okay.
So the depth. So the depth and alignment for those sections, really is set by how you want to stay under the natural topography at the end of that whole. So even though it's not being built right now, it's designed around that. Otherwise,
Okay.
we wouldn't be trying to hammer out so much rock to keep the sewer as deep as we are.
Well, does this add about $75,000? Do I read that correctly?
No, it's adding a little over $44,000.
24.
44.
44.
44 for Merrick and then 48 and change for ML Albright. So it's about 92-ish, $93,000.
And we can go on to the Albright line.
Need to vote on this one first, or we will have to.
Let's talk about ML Albright and then you guys can do your motions
Okay.
for each item separately, but I'd like for Joe to provide all the information you might need prior to doing that. Okay.
In the packet, you know, that this change order is one that's like page 10 of 17. If you want to look at where that starts. So, you know, the summary at the top is we added addition of an excavation unit price. And so that, I remember the trench collapsing sections. The initial sort of width of the trench to dig that out is sort of incidental to the pipe. So that means that they had to figure that in their per foot cost for building the pipe originally. But when we have these collapses, they have to dig that material back out to keep making progress and either haul it, stockpile it off somewhere else, just excavating and removing it once it falls into the trench. And so we negotiated a reasonable rate for that quantity and added it to the contract. Then the second one really is just taking into account those changes in quantity that we were seeing at the time and projecting them through the end of the project and what that would do to the contract price. So adjusting those. So yeah, that represents like our best estimate from American, from Albright's about what that is gonna be, because it was clearly gonna be larger than what we started out the project.
How long of a stretch was that had the compromised soils?
Yeah, if you want to go back to this, it's pretty much the plan sheets are labeled kind of the C5, C4, C3, C2 labels. It was C3 and C2 for the areas that was a challenge.
Quite a bit.
Yeah. This wasn't all of C2, but a good, most of it.
And they're still going on that right now.
They seem to be through the worst, like, it's behaving itself properly now. We haven't had any real collapses for the most recent.
Do they know what might have caused them? Is that just weather? Is that type of rock or?
I think mostly it's the amount of rock excavation and the way that rock behaved. Like we had pretty deep rock excavation in the first phase of the project, if you're around for that went down Grell. And we didn't have the same sort of issues. Just it seems like the rock was harder and not breaking up. Well, harder might not be the right term, but basically breaking up into smaller pieces that are easy to remove and having more vertical walls versus hammering it and having larger pieces want to pull out of the sides.
Chunkier.
Yes. Which also makes it harder to get shoring and yeah, it goes back here, but then you have these protruding pieces still in there and.
Yeah, I would throw in with the salt around here is tricky. If you've got areas where it's really solid and impervious, doesn't have a whole lot of cracks in it. And then there's other areas where it's really broken up and you can, I mean, it's hard excavation, but you can actually get the rock to pop loose and you can just take it out with an excavator. They were in more of that solid, hard stuff, having to hammer on it, get it to break the pieces off of there, and then pull it out. And so all that hammering and all the impact caused the trenches to slow. So that was an unexpected condition that they encountered.
So. Yeah, then I guess the last one is just the adjustment to the number of contract days. So if you dig deep into our contracts, there's a liquidated damages. If they take longer to get a project done, you know, essentially they get docked money for not getting done on time. And this is the number of days that we sort of landed on negotiating with them. That's kind of a fair way to extend that out. Allow them time to finish the contract. Any other questions?
Yeah, so was there a previous change order too that took us up from $1,498,000 to $1,552,000?
Yeah.
I forgot that.
This would be the fifth change order overall in the project. Several of them were no cost change orders, but yeah, the last one.
So in the contract that you guys recommended approval of, there was contingency funds kind of set aside. And this pushes us over those contingency funds, which is why it's back in front of you, because when those reimbursement requests come in front of you, there will of course be a difference between that original set amount and what we're ultimately going to be reimbursing the city. And so that's why these amounts are in front of you now, because they're over and above that contingency that's kind of built into the contract anyways. You always have small changes.
The good news is just that last picture. Sorry, I didn't underline that twice. The good news is that, you know, those collapsing trench rock excavation conditions seem to have, at least for now, stopped. We've gotten through that section of the project. There is some more rock excavation later on that may, I guess at this point here, well, was it going to behave like this section or like other path sections? So I guess that remains to be seen. But for now, we're not continuing to have that, and their pace has picked up. Also, cost and schedule. We're looking more optimistic right now.
So Joe, you are more regarding the collapsing as opposed to the cave-ins. Collapsing, you're satisfied with the dollar increase and with the days increase.
I think so. Well, we talk about cave-ins, like, I agree, kind of like, my gut tells me cave-ins are like from them. Like above.
Yeah. Yeah,
Some
sounds like
collapses are from the sides, but, Yeah, so the cost to remove that material is. I mean, the person also has to remember that it's happening or as that's happening, that extra excavation, it's not as though they can just plan to dig it. It's like you're waiting and then it collapses in on where you're trying to work, and the quantity and the timing is kind of all reactionary versus, it's not like I'm gonna dig a trench twice as wide as I had planned. You can kind of progress even continually dealing with that and then getting back to your main sort of work. So I think the number there is pretty reasonable. Schedule wise, I don't think it's included here, but they had submitted basically this was our production rate in feet per day before we got to this section. This is what it is right now, projecting to the end. How they came up with that number. I don't think that it's going to really take them that many more days, but a pretty reasonable ask. And they still want to get done and take their crew and move to another project that they're going to make money on. So,
Yeah, they want to get done.
yeah, we're going to have some things to manage, especially on crossing powers, because it's enough of an arterial street that we're not in the window of pavement now in the winter, so we're likely going to be mixing some cement in with the gravel that goes back there to try to get that to hold up. We may have to manage that some more until we can get to where they can pave it this spring. I mean, that's the one that has all the traffic.
Yeah, how soon till they hit hours?
Let's see, got the holiday. I mean, I think that they would be getting out there in early January, kind of the way things are going. I don't think that they want to get it all partially into it for that.
All right, anybody else have any questions? No? Then I will open this back up to the bidding on or entertaining a motion to approve the East Orchard Sewer Phase 3 construction for merit contract amendment request for $44,404.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Do we want to open it up for any more discussion? Okay, no discussion. I'll call for everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Okay, motion passes. The next item is East Orchard Sewer Phase 3 construction project with ML Albright change order request for $48,924.85. Entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Okay, open it up for any discussion. No?
Well, I guess none of us like to say extra, but
Yeah.
these are
I don't know if it's already finished.
necessary to finish, and I believe we have assurances from our staff that it was necessary.
Kind of like a box of chocolates, you don't know what you're gonna get.
So Joe, is $15 a yard really the going rate for excavation?
I think that it would be less if you were, like I said, digging a wider trench and planning for that extra material, but they're trying to capture some of the impacts to everything else in that number. Well,
Okay.
and they don't have a wide enough space to keep much native material on site and still access the site. Like it's so long and linear, so they have been trucking it off. Oftentimes, I don't know if they're still doing this, but how long ago they were still taking it to the subdivision that they've been working on.
Dumping it.
Storing it there and then bringing it back as they were back.
And quite a challenge when it collapses out of reach of the excavator where it's parked. Get that out.
They have some other machines like they dig over the side or just something smaller to reach in there. So far, they've been able to make it all work. It is a very large machine as their primary digging machine up there. Excavators always seem like they're about the same size until you get like that final step up where you close to touch it, and then the big ones, you're like, oh, this is a lot bigger than the normal 20-ton one.
All right, any other discussion?
Thanks for the photos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really helped. Very well.
All right, so I'll call for the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion passed. Next item is review of financial summary of October 2025. It's for information only.
Okay, so in your packet, is the financial summary. I've not received November's yet, so that one will get in January. So just so you're aware, since we did discuss this, change order, so you'll see under East Orchard Sewer, our available funds are sitting at about 1.6 million. We still have about $1 million, left to pay, in reimbursement costs, for East Orchards, and so we're adding another $93,000 to that, so just so the board's aware. We will be seeing, these numbers all go up when we start receiving our increment in January, so like in February, we'll see that kind of hit the bank, and show up in our accounts.
Just a question in the expenditures that acronym STP and TRNB.
So STP is the state investment
Okay.
pool. So that's where we are parking a majority of our
Yep.
funds because they generate a large amount of interest that way. And then the Twin River National Bank is the other one. So that's, yeah. So those are our banking institutions. And so those would be the interest that we are earning on those monies as they wait to be allocated to projects. Any other questions for me on those? Okay.
All right. If there's no other questions in regards to the financial summary, I'll move on to unfinished and new business and open it up for board member comments. Anybody?
Well, for the listing has been announced that we have a retiring commissioner, Jerry Clem, and a lot of interest.
How many years has Jerry been?
It's a little more than 18, I believe.
Wow. That's the point.
So we had a lot of interest in the position and be conducting interviews next month. There's been some process already started, but next month, and I believe plan to vote and select the commissioner by February 11th meeting.
Nice. Well, thanks for the update. Anybody else? No? All right, I'll open it up to staff comments.
So January meeting is scheduled for January 13th. Is there anyone unable to attend?
It's still open.
Everybody good? Okay. And then we still have our at-large seat open, so if you guys could push that to the other organizations you may be a part of. I have reached out to the Chamber and Valley Vision. I have not got any applications or bites thus far. So please share with people you know.
So, back at on the county, Nez Perce County, is that by statute, only the commissioners could do that, or that's just the way it's been that only the commissioners?
That's how our bylaws read, is that we have a city council representative, we have a Valley Vision representative, we have a port representative, we have 3 at-large seats, and we have a county representative. So the county nomination had been Doug Havens, and that went in front of city council, slightly delayed. I did not follow proper procedure because the county did not issue me a letter like they're supposed to. So we were kind of playing catch up with that legal notice, and they're like, okay, you have to do this part. And then city council chose not to accept that nomination and appoint him to the board. So right now that seat sits open until the county either sends a different nominee or they and the council come to some sort of agreement.
Okay, thank you.
And then the at-large seat would just be anyone within either Lewiston or Nez Perce County. Anyone's meant to apply for that one. And then again, much like Tim and Sheila, they get interviewed. And then that appointment would go in front of council also to be approved.
Thanks.
All right. Any other staff comments?
That's all I got.
Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thanks, Dad. Good to see you.
You too. Happy holidays. We'll see you in
Happy holidays.
January.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Record time.
That out. All right, I'm
Pretty good time.